So today's video is going to be all about snacks. Often a lot of parents ask me, how do I create good healthy snacks and make them on the go? And I wanted to really show you all the different types of snacks that we do in our home and what have worked for us and what hasn't worked for us and how we keep trying. So something I want everyone to start thinking about is snack time should not be treated as treat time. Let's really separate the two and use snack time as a way to hit your nutritional goals. If your kids are eating a lot of vegetables and fruits during snack time, then the pressure comes off dinner time if they didn't eat their peas and broccoli. So I really want us to think, if we could front load breakfast and snack time and lunch with veggies and fruits, then it really takes the pressure off the rest of the day or even the rest of the week on what they ate. So I wanted to cover a bunch of different kinds of on-the-go snacks to freshly cut fruits and vegetables for everybody to start thinking about. So these are dried fruits, and I really look for sulfur-free and organic fruits when I do pick them, but there's apricot, there's dates, there's figs, there's a mixture of berries, strawberries, and cherries, and you always get your grapes. Something to think about when it comes to dried fruit is that kids could eat 20, 30, 40 raisins where they would probably only eat 5 or 6 real grapes. So just something to think about. Even though there's no added sugar to these, they're still getting a lot of sugar, so you still want to be very mindful of how many they eat in any one sitting. The next thing we have here are different kinds of fruits and vegetables that are dehydrated. So one of my kids' favorite things are peas, and they love it so much that they actually ate it the other day, and I realized I didn't have any for the video, so sorry about that. But they look just like this, but peas, and they also have corn and roasted tomato, also a big fave in our house. Here are some pineapple and apples and carrots as great little dehydrated snacks. They pop in little snack zippy bags, or you can just take the whole thing and put it in your diaper bag. Here's another one. It is completely made of onion, and we have these in kale chips and a ton of different flavors. This one has turmeric and sesame seed oil, and it is really a strong flavor, and I actually started our kids early on these type of foods because it got them interested and got them exposed to turmeric and cumin and all these strong flavors while still giving them that kind of satisfying crunchy flavor that kids love in chips and pretzels. So look out for these types of foods. They're made of, like I said, kale, sweet onions. They have a ton of different flavors. So here are some easy fruit and vegetable suggestions that I use for my own kids and really what it takes to make them. So I cut up a bunch of bell peppers and cucumbers and carrots and celery a couple times a week, and then I put them in little resealable containers or Ziploc bags, and I'm able to just grab and go, on certain days where I don't have time to prep anything. So what I do is just, I make them, and I have them all ready, and I just throw them in the diaper bag, and the kids have a snack time at the park. So what I do is, since my kids are still on the young side, I actually cut up the bell peppers into smaller pieces. They seem to eat those better. But you try it out. You go ahead and add different types of dips, like maybe a different kind of yogurt. We have tons of examples on the site of dips. But keep trying, keep leaving out a variety of vegetables for kids to play with and engage with and see what they like. And over time of just being exposed to them, they're gonna actually get comfortable enough to try them, and then it becomes a part of their mealtime. So I do wanna give you hope. If your kids don't eat any vegetables, you can get them to eat vegetables. So here are what I do, and my kids don't even know they're eating all these different kinds of root vegetables. I cut up carrots and parsnips and butternut squash and beets, golden beets, all into fry shape. Throw some coconut or olive oil on them and throw them in the oven for about 25 minutes at 375. And I put a variety of seasonings. So this is a big butternut squash, so I might put it on 3 different trays and put garlic powder on one, cinnamon on another, and maybe onion powder on a different one. So I really try to keep the flavor profile different and get them excited to try different flavors. And they're eating beets and they're eating parsnips. So I get really excited about that. But cut everything into a fry and give it to your kids, and you'll see that they'll probably like it, especially if they get exposed to it enough times. And then we can't forget our fruits. Kids love fruits for the most part. I will say, my kids initially, when they were starting to get introduced to foods, they didn't like the sliminess of a strawberry or even a blueberry. So we did start with a dehydrated fruit that I showed you guys earlier. And that kind of, got them comfortable with eating strawberries and bananas. And then I eventually switched them over to texture. and gave them real fruit. So my kids did have a lot of issues with texture and really not being wanting to eat fruits or vegetables. So it took us some time and constant exposure. That's why I say there is hope that even if your kids are kind of, averse to the different kinds of textures or flavors, is that through enough exposure, they'll get comfortable with it. So, really kind of think there's pineapples, there's just tons of fruits and vegetables to give your kids, and just keep changing it up. Now we're going to talk about transitional snack foods. When my kids were introduced foods at first, they did not take well to fruits and vegetables. They didn't like the texture and the sliminess and all of this other properties of the actual food, but they love their pretzels and chips. And what I quickly realized is, what are my kids eating? I can't believe they're eating all these processed foods. So I started looking at these transitional type of foods to get them back over to fruits and vegetables. So I looked at, there's Snap Pea Crisp, there's these vegetable chips that are made of potatoes and beets and carrots, there's these veggie sticks. They all have the same kind of dissolvable, crunchy texture. And there's even, as I started to transition them slowly through these foods, seaweed, kale chips, I kept moving the dial and moving them over until they actually were, open to trying a tomato and a pepper and cucumber. So I did have to use these as a crutch to get them over. And we still enjoy them as an occasional treat. Something to think over here are, they have these, different kinds of organic treats and snack foods, but really when you turn them around, they're not always as healthy just because they say organic. So I wanted us to really kind of think about that the first couple ingredients of these fruit snacks are sugar. So as an occasional treat, they're fabulous. As an everyday treat or everyday snack, you really want to see if you can transition them over to whole fruits and vegetables so we could hit their nutritional needs. I think I mentioned that one of my kids has a peanut allergy, so I often will have to pack these and go to a birthday party, so that way they still get to eat something sweet and be a part of the festivities, but I know it's peanut free. One thing I found, and it's very hard for me to find any kind of nuts that he could eat because they're usually processed with peanuts, are these pumpkin seeds. They are an amazing snack. I just put them in a little snack cup. They're getting a superfood, and I know that they're getting something really healthy, and they actually really enjoy eating it. Something else I wanted to talk about is pretzels are an occasional great treat and snack food. They're organic ones, there's better ones for you, but they are really filling. So I want you guys to think about that sometimes this could actually hurt your next meal by giving them too many pretzels in a day or chips. So kind of think about that these foods sometimes can be very filling. Follow, like, and subscribe, and don't forget to visit feedingmykid.com for different tips on how to feed your family. Send you more blah, blah, blah. Almost, right?